Hello everyone, this is Blue Fire, a nice little indie game that has some inspirations from Hollow Knight, Mario, Zelda, and a couple more games. This is very movement based with a couple of bosses, so I'd say let's just get right into it. Alright, so there's going to be an in-game timer at the top right to keep track of, but obviously we're going off of RTA for the event, but between the two it's going to be about a 15-minute difference by the end of it. Alright, so in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, and I'm going to start by breaking the game by not watching the intro cutscene at all, by spamming escape on the keyboard, and if I had an RTA timer like in front of me, I could have only paused once and avoided having lost 2 seconds to the in-game timer, because the unpausing was why the in-game timer started playing, but it's like not a big deal. So like I said, this game is very movement based, so there's going to be a lot of certain specific movement inputs and timings that I will go over. But right now what I'm doing is called tap dashing. That's the fastest form of movement in this game, just tapping jump and holding dash. And then the other one that I used early on so far is a slash dash. This is slashing after a dash, which is very useful for drop-offs and stairs and whatnot. Oh. So this is the first like wild lock fight. There's going to be quite a couple of these, and we have to collect progression items. So right here, collecting an old key, just unlock a door, and a shield, one of the main abilities. There's also going to be plenty of save and quits. So what I did to open that first chest was a pause chest. Just the pause, really. Just pause and unpause, and during the unpause state, you just press interact, and you can move while in the chest animation. So now we saw a big door here, so we have to unlock that. So if anyone knows this game, they know a big attraction of this game is the voids, the secret level. It's kind of like, you can say, inspired by Super Mario Sunshine secret flood level, or floodless levels. So that's essentially what they're designed after, I'd say. But sadly, this is the only one we're doing, because they're just not a part of the main progression. It's just like there for 100% and whatnot. And also, this game has emoticons, so I can just say hello to everyone here. It's the only time I'm probably gonna be able to use it. There's not too much downtime. Alright, so trick here, just getting on an invisible ledge that they just so kindly left that for us. And that's the first and only void of this game, or this category done. And each void gives you a heart, and normally people want to collect as many hearts as they can, because, you know, the further you progress, you get harder bosses, since there's going to be bosses in this game. So that's the only one we collect, and we'll finish with 5. Right here, I am going to be doing some movement on some windowsills. Oh, that was not good. That's better. So right there, I just collected the Fire Keep tier, which is a spirit, which is in like an enhancement to movement. So I don't have it on right now. I have to equip it in a little bit, and what it does is gives me a second dash, and that'll be very helpful throughout the rest of the game. Right here is called a DDC, or directed dash cancel. So basically an enemy that is being able to be targeted and is higher up than our little character Umbra, we can instantly cancel like the frame after dashing and holding dash and go flying up. There's a couple of those in the run, but that's probably like the only one I'll hit. So this is a fire shrine. This is like the main like save point, and also this is where you can get a lot of enhanceables equipped, like mana and spirits you saw there. So that's where I can only equip spirits, and if you saw, there was 2 slots, so we actually do manage to get both of those slots filled throughout the rest of this run. And the first spirit, as I said, has a double dash. So if you see the icon on the left side, that is the double dash icon. And every time I use my second dash, like right here, you'll see that will take like 7 seconds to refill. So it's not like an instant double dash anytime I like jump in the air or anything. Alright, and that is pretty much the end of the first area, Fire Keep. This game doesn't really have like levels. No, like torch grab, I guess. It just has areas, really. Alright, and also I should probably mention if people know about this game and see what I'm wearing and how that is even in the game. It's a mod. You can mod the game is very moddable, but I have my own custom tunic that I've been running with for the last couple of years. Oh, and right here is a small skip. We're skipping an NPC. Oh, that's great. That's gonna put me below. There you go. Alright, so that's gonna skip an NPC dialogue to open the gate there. I basically saved no time. But if I were to have talked to him and opened that gate, I probably would have been even anyway. Alright, so there's a couple of these save points, these fire shrines, that I am going to actually be collecting because we're going to be doing some backtracking once we're able to get a teleporting item later on. And what I just got was a new pair of swords. There's a couple in this run. Just as you progress, the enemies become harder to kill, more health, and so just get more swords as we go on. And there's our second and final spirit, and just doing another direct dash cancel, which probably saved almost nothing because that was a bad landing. Alright, just have to make it through these obstacles. Doesn't matter if I get hit. Alright, and here's the NPC that we just skipped over, and he's a guy that just really loves elevators. So he wanted to bribe us 2,400 ore, which is the currency in this world, to fix this elevator, but instead we said, I'll pay you double if you just fix it now, and I'll just pay you double later. But instead, we just don't see him again. So we just ripped him off. Alright, so those are like the first two main areas done. This is kind of like a side area, but this is like the first bit of going off track from, I'd say, the normal route. Mainly because there is an ability here that is very important for the rest of the run. Like, it's probably the most important item in the game, quite honestly. So we used to, like, the first month, we used to run without this item and then just realize how ridiculous it is. So there's another directed dash cancel just to get up this ledge. This is unintended to get where I am right now with what I have. I don't have like proper abilities to actually get up there casually, but I just did a directed dash cancel and skipped it. So right here are these enemies that I need to defeat to get the new ability that I really want, and what I'm trying to do is parry them with the shield, and what that does is a little bit less than 4 times the damage of a normal sword hit. So parries are good in this game, and you'll see later. And there's another pause chest, and there's the whirlwind hook. That is a spin attack, so that's good for both attacking and movement, and you'll see right now. So right here is called a spin ladder, or a version of a fast ladder, just going up a ladder very quickly. And now I'm going to be doing, hopefully, a really cool trick here, if I time it, and then not die. Okay, so right there I just did a spin lever, and what that did was, instead of me being frozen in a state where I couldn't move after hitting the lever, doing the pause strat just allowed me to move while the camera was positioned when you normally hit that lever. So I was able to move while in that. So this is the next time we get our second spirit. And another spin lever and another or spin ladder than spin lever. Yeah, very, very good names. It's just what they are. Also, that was like pretty good getting them first try, especially because for this game, we allow what's called double bind, so like binding two inputs to one button. But so many of these are, like, at least to me, very easy to hit that I only have like 2 double binds that I will use later in the run. I forgot the charge spin, and it didn't even work. So every one of these like pause with the chest and the levers is just me doing like a claw motion, kind of having my thumb on my attack button and then my pointer on the pause button. So a lot of these are very easy to hit, even though they're like 1 frame. Now it's just a normal wild fight. I don't know if I killed that guy. Okay, I did. So this is another like kind of off-track section, but there's an ability that you kind of want. So that's what I'm gonna go get now. And I have to kind of go through this little maze of... I meant to spin first, whatever. But there's a whole section of maze where I have to like get different keys to unlock the different doors. Surprised I killed both of them. That doesn't really work. Alright. Now we go and use the holy key, which there's only a couple in the game, and they're just used to get like good items. And we're gonna go get our next ability right here. And what this is, Nero's Claw, is a wall jump, wall run / wall jump, and that's where most of, like, I'd say, difference between NMG and glitchless comes from, because we're gonna be doing something off of walls that just, compared to, I don't know why I did that, compared to glitchless saves a good amount of time. So it's called a moon jump, and I'm about to be doing 3 right here into a spin level. Probably getting everything first try. And then another DDC. Okay, hit me. I have to go there. And then just another moon jump for safety. When I'm safe, I'll explain what moon jump is. So there's a couple of tricks you can do with the wall jump ability in this game, and one of them is the moon jump, and what that does is give Umbra more height than a normal wall jump. And there's a couple of versions of it. There's one that's even better than the moon jump, but that one is considered not NMG, because NMG is kind of defined by being in a state of float animation. And there's a version that's slightly better that is considered floating. So I'm doing the one that's a bit lesser than that. So what I do to achieve it is I attack and then at the same time jump and interact. And with those 3 inputs within that short period of time, just I have to equip the swords I just got. I almost forgot to. But that allows me to get a bunch more height, but it still uses up stamina. It still uses up more stamina, so that's pretty much a good reason why it's also still an energy. So this is one of our first mini bosses, one of 2 also. Wow, this might be a 4 cycle, which is not good. So there's, I'm sure many people could tell, like, this kind of area was kind of modeled off of like a temple in Zelda. That's kind of the vibe they were going off of. There's going to be another with another mini boss. And then we get to the big boys after that. Alright, so spin attacks are pretty solid to use. That's like the main attack that we're going to be using for like everything. There's a couple exceptions, especially in the next temple. So there's another save and quit, because if I exited the area, it would pan over to part in Stoneheart City where I'm going to go to next, and it would just lose time, both in-game and RTA. So we have to go over here to get an item to unlock the next item. They're just more moon jumps. And we meet Bremer, and he's going to talk about his family being missing, and we're going to take a key from him. And then we just unlock the next area. This game goes by so fast. It used to not have skippable cutscenes, but we've worked like very hand in hand with the developers in making sure, because they're very speedrunner friendly. It just took a long while to get like cutscene skippable, and on top of that, making the timer pause properly. But yeah, I mean, finally it's done. It's been done for a while, but it took a while. So now this is like, I mean, obviously it's named Temple, so it's more obvious that it's based off of Zelda, but this is where the second mini-boss to progress the story is. Right, and there's some chests like these ones in this area that I might not do a pause chest for, just because there's like some certain movement afterwards that, you know, it wouldn't really do much if I were to do the pause, because pause does lose time, both RTA and in-game. So right here I'm gonna try to, okay, that was way late. If I timed like pressing interact frame perfectly, I could move the statue after being in that frozen state after going on top of the pressure plate. Alright, and now we're in the main lobby of this temple. Now we are going to climb it in a very unique way that the developers never intended to, but moon jumps. Oh, that shouldn't have been a pause chest, because I actually have to use it to get up here. So we have to go in here, which is another like offset area, but it has something to unlock an ability with. And I have to equip the new swords that I got as we progress, because enemies get a lot more health. Oh, how did that hit me already? Yeah, in long distances, using the directed dash or the target dash is pretty helpful. Could have gone a little bit cleaner. So there's another one of those holy keys, and right there is one of the holy key chests with the next ability. It's like the only chest where I'm able to move after unlocking it for whatever reason. So this one gives us a double jump. So this is also going to be very helpful. That area, that like little ledge is finicky sometimes, so I just had to make sure I was on it, not fall all the way down. Hey, look, another holy key. We're on our way to the mini boss in the temple. And then more slash dashes just to get to the ground faster from drop off. Alright. And then this is our second mini boss before all the harder main bosses show up. And this mini boss kind of got an optimized kind of fight recently with parry strats. I mean, they've been a thing before, but they were never like properly used RTA until now, so this might look weird. Like it, there might be some slow-mos. This might be a 3 cycle, sadly. Right there, I'm like intentionally damaging myself into the goo right here to get. Alright, I have to time this. That was a bit early. There's like a 1 frame there before the phase 1 to 2 transition that I could hit. So sadly, it's 3 cycle throw. So I'm achieving that parry, that dash and parry, by actually having keyboard inputs on my Xbox controller, having the shield and attack inputs, or the shield and dash inputs. And if for whatever reason, like having a double bind of shield and dash with game or the controller inputs doesn't work. It only works with the keyboard one. So anyone running on like a console is pretty much not going to be able to do that. And that was pretty much 4 hits and it was dead, all because of that basically 4x damage. Also, I can't save and quit. I had to save myself there. I can't save and quit like at the end of Flora Shrine because we're actually forced to enter the next area through here. It used to be different. There used to be another entrance way into this area where we were able to save and quit, but they blocked that off reasonably. Like, there was no reason for it to not be blocked off, and now it is. Now we're in Temple Gardens, and this is where the end game kind of like is, but we still got some exploring to do. Just one more fast ladder up here. Temple of God's Key, and now we're gonna unlock the story progression. This is like the main hub for like the end game, I'd say. We're not gonna be back here for a while. So we didn't see it because I skipped the cutscene at the start, but this is our guy Vaughn, and now he's gone. He gave us the stone that allows us to warp from Fire Shrine to Fire Shrine, like area to area, and that's what we're going to be using for like the backtracking sections. So Vaughn is kind of like the guide because the lore, I mean, I honestly have not read too much of the lore, but there's a war, and we're like the last experiment in this world that's corrupted apparently. And we have to kill all the corruptions, I guess. Alright. So now we're coming back into the abandoned path area, and there's going to be some sick recent movement. Shout out to Glint, who figured out that climbing this tower to get to the next progression is faster going from the inside rather than the out. And that's because of directed dash cancels on these guys. Alright, and now I have to hit this lever to open up that, because that's going to be another Fire Shrine to backtrack to. One more. Okay, I didn't think I could make that. And a couple moon jumps up here. And meet up with Vaughn again by Vaughn. Okay. And then what we unlocked is vessel souls. So we're going to be collecting souls of the dead from the land of the number, I guess. And what these do is unlock one of the 3 bosses. So I can explain that more, but this is what I think is a good time for donations, because this is just collecting things. Just turn into like a quick 1-minute collectathon. Alright, so I guess I can explain what like just happened in the lore, because I've been skipping the cutscenes, because now they're skippable, but there's a trio of boss enemies that we have to do trials of and be able to unlock them, and then obviously kill them, and then that would unlock the main boss at the end of the game. So this one is Bier's. This trial, like the soul fragments, there's going to be like this trial in like 4 different areas that we have to complete to unlock her. And then there's going to be a bit later, soonish, Sirion, who's this just straight up beaten area. And then Samuel is, you're going to see, I'm going to be doing the first part of his task shortly. Alright. I don't know why that felt slow, but I'm sure that was pretty normal. Alright, that's 1 out of 4 done for one of the... I'm gonna land on this. I wanted to keep my like single jump to make this. Alright, so now we're gonna go to another little bit of a task for another one of the... They're called Shadow Lords, so I'll just probably just say them for one of the Shadow Lords. This one is to unlock Samuel, or people just like to call him Sammy. I had no reason to turn the camera at all. So I could only do this until after I have the warp stone that we got from Vaughn a tiny bit earlier. And so we have to go into technically 3 different areas, not 4, to unlock the torches, or the flames that they call, that will unlock that Shadow Lord. Right. So we're just like swapping back and forth between like the different tasks to unlock the bosses in a linear fashion. Alright, so now we're gonna go back in Temple Gardens and do Vessel Souls here. And the movement in this part is kind of really cool. It's been a bit of a history with the route for this area, for the Vessel Souls especially, because they're so spread out. So there was like two competing routes between like which one's faster, like going in a box kind of like route or zigzag, and I think they could be equal, but it was kind of figured out that zigzag is probably the best one. So there's a lot of ladders here, so there's going to be a lot of fast laddering. Alright, there's another fire shrine, but that one's not really gotten. It's only really recommended if you struggle with the final boss. Alright. So you'll see me like zigzag back and forth, like maybe a tiny bit of backtracking, but it ends up being the fastest route that we could come up with. I guess while this is going on, I could say that, fun fact, like almost all of the strats, and not like of the main like whole game, but like movement wise were figured out in the demo. Like there wasn't too much different change from the demo back in like late 2020 to now. Keep messing up the ladders, but a lot of the movement was figured out back then and is still used now. There's only like one thing that separates like OG any percent versus this, and that's the dine dash spin. It's like a version of a floating spin that just launches you up in the air. And luckily the dev team was so kind enough to keep that actual branch, that version of the game in Steam betas, so anyone that would want to run like OG any percent and whatnot and do all like the cool like ban glitches here, they are able to do that, and there's like categories for that, like any percent 3.1.1 plus, and like just OG any percent. Alright, so now we're in Firefall River, and I hate this area movement wise because I mean there's a spirit that gives us an extended dash length, and it makes this area so fun, but without it, it's like a pain. Like I'm doing my best here, and it just looks awful, and I can't make it any better. Like getting that extended dash length spirit is not optimal in the run. It costs like 5,000 ore, and you can literally get no ore. Alright, so I'm gonna do death work, but right after I do a spin leper, hopefully. No. Alright, I still have spin, so I can still get it. Okay, that's fine. So I'm gonna hit that lava just to be able to respawn back up here quicker. Just unlock this next part of the Flames quest. And then the final two are in the actual same area, the Arcane Tunnels, towards the beginning of the game. And so we'll get to that at the very end. So this is done for right now. Alright, and now we continue towards the bottom of Firefall River and get more souls. Alright, by the way, those little guys are playing flutes. Yes. Alright, this is not as much as a pain as the Temple Gardens route, but they are kind of spread out. Also, you'll learn more lore about what those guys on the flutes are. Like, there's a whole village of them, and you'll see them like soonish. Alright. There's another void. Just avoid it. Funny pun. There's no reason to get them when they're not required, and you can definitely beat the game with 5 hearts. So, anyone starting out with this game and is still finicky with everything, it's definitely a good idea to just maybe get another void or two. That's definitely how we used to do it when the game first came out. Alright, here I kind of want to avoid doing... I wanted to avoid using my double dash because it's like a bit slower towards the end. Alright, that's 3 of the 4 souls done in this task line. Now we go to the next area, and this is where Sirion is going to be, but we have to complete this area to unlock him. Good movement there. Alright, so this is going to be a quick spin ladder. And now we're just going to unlock gates just to progress. So there's going to be another double bind strat towards the end here with like the main, I mean this kind of counts as a temple, so it's kind of like the main like objective, I'd say. Oh, I'm dead. I just completely mixed the inputs. Right, so now this is a steam house, just lava, and it's where apparently the land steam workers lived and whatnot. I don't really know much lore. So we have to talk to this lady to get a key to actually play through the rest of the area. And we're just gonna be like safe quit, so that's probably, I'm pretty sure that's the last fire shrine we get. Alright, I want this guy to hit me. That's really late. Alright, so now I am going to skip a little bit of this baller scroller section with moon jumps and just platforming from these windowsills. With moon jumps, you can get 4 out of a single, like just moon jump, or a single set of moon jumps. I had to like think and remember like there's a certain pattern, because if I did like my double dash instead of like a moon jump there, I would have died. But you can get 4 moon jumps out of a set of moon jumps, but the 4th one's ridiculously hard, so you probably only see me do 3 at a time. So these are the Iron Justice, the next sword, if I can know how to menu. I don't know if that worked. I mean, I got invisible swords, but I don't know if I got the trick. What I was going to do is... there's 3 boilers where I use this set of swords on. Okay, that didn't work. That's fine. There's 3 boilers, and this is the main objective to get to the next area. And what I can do with a double bind, if I do a dash and interact on one button, I'm able to complete 2 boilers on a single boiler and skip the 3rd boiler. So this one should be fine. So that didn't really lose any time. It looks wonky, but I'm like activating the boiler twice. So there's a 3rd boiler that takes a bit of time to get to. It's really like 20-something seconds from here. But we're just gonna skip that. So that's the first time I had to do that in the 2nd boiler, but it like made no difference. And outside of the parry stuff, that's like the only thing that I will have a double bind for, because it is insanely difficult to get with just normal triggers and buttons. I just don't know why. I've tried forever and just gave up. Alright, now we unlock the next area. Goodbye, lady. Alright, so this area is going to have all the little guys that we've been seeing throughout the game. The Onopes, they're just like the rebels that are left in the land after the war, I guess. And we have to talk to one specifically, because if you remember before my tower climb in Bandit Path, I picked up the rose, and this guy, Barry, actually needs the rose to get his lady back. And once he does, he'll give us something, and that something is very important. Alright. This looks weird, but I just got the key to unlock the first Shadow Lord that we're going to be defeating. I just didn't have to wait for the prompt to show up. I don't know why it's like that. That's like the only one that's like that. So we could just instantly quit out. But before we actually do that, we gotta go see what Barry's been up to the last 30 seconds. and see what has happened. Because we gave him that rose for a reason. Alright, what is he up to? Oh, she's back, and they had a kid in like 30 seconds. That's very nice. So he gives us the second best swords in the game, or the third best, if you count DLC. So now we use these swords for the rest of the game, and pretty much for all the main bosses. This camera's finicky, so I'm just not even gonna dash. Alright, so it was the Key of Ember to unlock Sirion. I don't remember menuing too much. Alright, but now we have the swords that we want for the rest of the game. Max swords in the base game, Shadowcasters does 42 damage, just 2 damage more than these, and then the ones from the DLC are 50, but we're not going to DLC obviously. So yeah, not too much explanation because cutscenes are skippable, but this is one of the 3 Shadow Lords that we have to defeat. And now we're in the boss rush section of the game, pretty much. There's a lot of platforming and then boss rush. So this guy has a very annoying saw that twirls around these platforms, and it might seem annoying to many people who play, especially casually, but you just have to do jump for that. And really, like, not much. So that was a decent second phase. R&B? Alright, Sirion's third phase was very annoying before I figured out how to not get myself hit into his very wildly large hitbox and lose out on getting one cycle. I used to dash into him after just 3 slashes, and I would always get damaged by him, but instead, I can just straight up, oh, I might not be able to, I actually died again. Alright, well there goes like a minute. I was not expecting that at all. Okay. I like wasn't paying attention at all to health. Alright, well, have to fight him again. There goes like a minute and a half. I just had to, I think I might want to wait. I didn't charge the spin either, whatever. Barely have enough abilities to make it over. But yeah, I just wasn't paying attention. I got hit by the saw and then the slash instantly, so I just completely fumbled that. But he is, I'd say, the hardest boss in the game. Not even the final boss is the hardest, probably the second easiest. Getting the third phase in one cycle used to be really difficult for this guy, but I figured out a trick of just not dashing into him and risking getting hit. So well, hopefully that will go well, but I won't die. I was just not paying attention. Just got hit by the saw and then like a second later. Okay, I'm not trying to burst myself there. But I just have to like pay attention. And just use my shield whenever I get hit, because most of this stuff does like 2.5 to 3 hearts, so it's going to be a 2-shot. So now instead of dashing here normally, I'm just going to just jump in and get the 1 cycle. I'd never figured doing that for 2 years, and he's always been like the hardest 1 cycle on that phase to hit for whatever reason. Just don't dash her. That's all it was. Alright, and now some of this is like unskippable just because it's like important, I guess, to just see the Shadow Lord die. But now there's 2 more left that we have to get before the final boss is unlocked. I have the platform here, and yes, I have game overed by messing up my platforming there with like 1 heart. Very funny. Alright. Sadly, this run has been flying through. I don't even know how much I've messed up. I feel like I haven't really messed up until that death, sadly. But this could still be on pace to be a 35 in-game. Alright, so now another save and quit, because we're not gonna like backtrack all the way to the nearest fire shrine. So now we have 1 Vessel Souls left for 1 Shadow Lord, and then 2 more torches for the other, and then is the final boss, so we gotta get those done. So we're gonna go back to the first area and complete that final Vessel Soul route, because you may have seen the Vessel Souls in the very start of the game, like for a brief moment, in the first 30 seconds, and that's the last one we're getting from Laurel. Weird movement. Nah, that was like, I wasn't ready to press pause there. Alrighty. I remember this route used to be like super linear. It used to go to the area of where I got where I got shield. Like all of the souls, it just used to be that linear, but then they recognized it was too linear, so they made it around the whole area, thankfully. I didn't realize I slashed over the chest. If there's any donations, this is a pretty good time because it's just collecting again. I want to be fast to make these door cycles a little quicker. Came back to the original room we were created in, I guess. Now we're getting to the end. And the last soul. Close the chest, because why not? Just a little slower RTA, but in-game time it saves a couple of seconds, just as save quit. I know this is an RTA event, but the leaderboard mainly cares for the in-game time, obviously. But I don't think this is, I mean, it's definitely not near record with the boss death. Alright, now we go back to Abandoned Path, and we have all the 4 Vessel Souls completed, which unlocks the second Shadow Lord we defeat. This one has actually a more jankier hitbox than the first, but is not as like annoying and difficult, I'd say. Right here, we just do a couple moon jumps, and then I'm gonna do another spin ladder. And zoom up. Getting a lot of pause tracks actually to this run, surprisingly. They're not that crazy difficult, because it's for me it's not too crazy to hit 2 different buttons at the same time, especially playing as Claw. It just works out pretty well. But I could also be using a double bind and get them first try every time. There's nothing wrong with anyone that wants to do that. Basically, it means you're smarter than me. Alright, so now we're at Biera. This is like an icy lord, icy shadow lord, pretty much. And she instantly wants to take our head off, and we just dodge her. So in this first phase, I want to keep her as close as possible to the middle, because when she transitions, she'll go back to the middle, and the closer she's to the middle, and the faster the transition will be. So her hitbox is very, very wonky. You want to like be around her torso, just because the hitbox is like pretty small and can push you back at times. It's always been like that. It's a very weird hitbox. They made it a lot better. So yeah, her phases aren't really that difficult. Getting a 1 cycle on phase 3 is a little hard, but it doesn't save much time. Also, I forgot to go attack her. I could attack her for 2 hits there. I think it's still possible to get the 1 cycle. I need to heal, so I'm just going to sacrifice the 1 because I completely just think there's 2 different things at the same time. Should be able to kill her here anyway. I just have to be quick about it. A bit slow. But the job is done. And now we just have 1 more. We have those last 2 torches or flames of darkness. And we can unlock the last Shadow Lord and then go back to the last boss. So the game kind of like, 1 half is platforming, 1 half is like Shadow Colossus bosses in a way, I guess. It's pretty much the movement kind of what drove me into this game when it first like got shown off. But figuring out like boss strats, like you're about to see some more parry stuff hopefully in this next boss, like you did with one earlier in one of the temples. It's pretty cool to optimize. And then just the last one for the final boss is actually unlocked. And thank the Lord, pun intended, for save and quits, because backtracking in this game is horrible. Alright, so now we go back to the second area, which was Arcane Tunnels, to defeat that last Shadow Lord. And just like the second mini-boss, this boss is going to have a parry strat, because in older versions, it was possible to one-cycle his second phase, but just for some reason, like a quirk in the like damage output had to happen in order for that to actually work. And these days it doesn't work, but just with the recent like parry strats like actually being added finally, we're able to skip his or get a one cycle on a second phase again, but have to like be a bit slow on the first phase to make it happen. Hopefully I get it quickly though. So that's the third torch done. We're going to the second, or well, the second area, the fourth of the task. I'm gonna demolish that green guy. We call those green guys. I don't know who started it, but we just do. And sadly, there's another thing of where it's kind of like, because we don't have the extended dash, spirit movement looks slow. That's just how it is. If you play rando, you could probably get a double or extended dash lane drop early. Rando is actually really fun in this game. It was just recently released, and I would highly recommend anyone that just liked playing this game to try it out, because it is very hectic and fun, in my opinion. Alright, so now we unlock the last Shadow Lord. And this one involves a parry strat, so hopefully I get it decently quick. I'm gonna like get it no matter what, because I'm not gonna actually like damage him before I actually get the parry, but we'll see. Right here I can just take damage and just keep hitting him, but I have to get his health like in the middle of the S or the M, or that's good enough. I have to heal. I don't know why I charge spin, because when you do parries, you don't want to spin. Alright, there we go. So I got the parry strat off of the smoke rather than the shards. Either one works. So now we'll be able to easily one cycle his second phase at the cost of some time loss from the first cycle or the first phase. Just messing up. Getting a quick parry. And we just wander around and just attack him. Dead. Not a hard boss. That doing the parry kind of made him a bit hard again to actually do right and quickly. Luckily we actually, or well, I guess I actually decided to just add the parries and test that out, and like I used to think they weren't properly RTA viable. They just weren't messed with until like recently again, so yeah. Alright. So now the final boss. So this final split is like around 2 minutes. So I could get a 36 IGT from this. And I lost like a minute and a half from the Sirion death. So this could have been like a mid 35 to win a minute behind record. So not too terrible. I honestly can't remember what else I messed up other than Sirion. So obviously there was some stuff, I guess, talking too much, not paying attention. There's muscle memory taking over, I guess. So, pretty solid. Probably, I don't know if I can't remember the time I had, and I did a marathon run of this, I think a year ago, and it might have been a mid-36, so this might be able to etch that out. But Queen RNG, the final boss, has to go well, and she can absolutely suck. Some more tap dashes just to get to the spawn. Alright, and no more lore, just kill final boss. So this is the Queen, the final bit of corruption in the land, and her first phase attacks, at worst can be 6 of those, and at best 3. So we're already off to the worst start. On top of bad animation, so that's the absolute worst start. So want 3 of these. Alright, 5, and yep, give me the worst RNG possible. As long as she gives me one good animation hit here, like that, I'll be able to get into the second, or I'll only one cycle the second phase. If I have to 2 cycle the second phase, then that's like a gargantuan time loss. So now she shoots shards and this out, and I think that was the best RNG there. Could have gone from 5 to 8, but I think that was 5. Also, these suck. 2 good animations, so free 1 cycle. Alright, so now here I could just keep hitting her for as much damage as possible, but there's a certain limit that I want to hit her at because I want to actually 2 cycle her 3rd phase just to be able to 1 cycle her 4th. The 4th phase is obviously the last one to miss the whole one. So I'm gonna just go a bit after the Q, and luckily I could just, oh, I guess that was a bit too much. Alright, let's go on here. If she spawns far away, just shield. People should probably know shield because it's really good there. On here. Wow. Thank you. Time. I'm sorry. That was like, I wasn't expecting the Queen to just straight up spawn right there, but that was time. That was like a 52, like low 50-second time. I'm sorry. That was like way too quick at the end. I had no preparation. She could spawn in like 4 different corners, and I just got good RNG in the end, but that was kind of like a mid-Queen, I'd say. But, I mean, other than dying at Sirion, that would have been like maybe low 35, which is, it should be like within a minute of record. So, yeah, I'm surprised I played decent. Considering it's like 7 in the morning, I've had 6 hours of sleep in the last 2 days. But alright, that's Blue Fire. I appreciate anyone that's up and enjoyed the run. The developers are currently making their 2nd game, and yes, this is their 1st game, and it's a ridiculously good 1st game for any gaming company. And the 2nd game is not going to be related to this game, I will mention, though many people do want a sequel, but we'll see what happens. But I'll give a quick shout out to the small community that's been surrounding this game for the last 2 years since its release. It's not had a whole lot of activity, but the people that are in it are like very close knit to each other. Considering we have like a randomizer now made, this game is super moddable. There's so much mods. Like you saw, I had my customizable tunic and Meta Knight mask, if anyone saw that. And we also have a couple of runners that are giving out free tutorials. Shout out to Glint's 80% glitchless tutorial that he just recently put onto a GDQ hotfix. So if anyone wanted to get into the game, possibly like start out with glitchless maybe, it's not too much difference between glitchless and NMG. It's just really the moon jumps and a couple other things. It's like a couple minutes. So whatever floats your boat. But yeah, these credits are long, so I think I'm just gonna be done. I appreciate GSA for having me on for another live run, and I think that'll be it for me.